We're back again. We're talking. It's Eric
Cody?
and we're going to talk today about bands, musical bands. I suppose I don't know if there are any other bands, but
Rubber bands? We're talking about rubber bands today?
could be a yeah, we could do that too. So we deal with a lot of different groups, with teams and companies, and someone wants to raise money for a certain fundraiser or whatever. But one big part of our business and one thing that we kind of near and dear to our hearts are musical bands in the area. And Cody happens to be in or play with
A few groups. I play with a psychedelic band called Mad Delirious, and I drum with another group, Levi Smith and the Bad Landings. A couple other people around town. Neil Simmons, I play with him, and just, general man about town, making noise for people who will let me do it in their establishment.
Okay. And you might find him on bass, you might find him on a drum kit, you might find him on guitars, xylophone, anything?
I haven't. If you find a good deal on a xylophone, let me know. I'll definitely pick it up.
Okay.
So,
All right. So if you have a xylophone, Cody,
reach out.
So we're here to talk about bands and apparel that they need for their band. And Cody's going to kind of talk about, I'm sure all of you have seen live music, and there's a little bit that goes behind it as far as the cost and why it's important to buy merch from your favorite bands.
Well, yeah. It's a huge part of it. There's a kind of a running joke in the music community that we're not really artists. We're just traveling t-shirt salesmen. So it's kind of a funny coincidence that I just work here as well. Maybe not such a coincidence. Maybe I engineered that. But it's a huge thing for us. Like, for instance, my band is going to be putting on a show at the band shell here in town, and we actually pay to use that space. And the only reason we can do that is because we have merch and we're able to sell it at the shows and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love doing that kind of stuff, but it can be a little daunting for people who aren't familiar with the process of ordering shirts.
So what we talked to earlier off mic about, in your opinion, for bands, especially bands that might watch this and they're getting ready to buy things or look into getting merch, like, what has been your experience? Like, what should they be looking for? What to stay away from? What do they do with inventory?
Well, I see a mistake that a lot of bands will make is they will try to put way too complex of a design on their shirt. They'll bring in a design with 7 or 8, 12 colors in the design, and it looks great, on the screen, looks great on paper, but as any business knows, this goes for any business, not just bands, the more colors you add, the more it's gonna cost you. And just because it costs you more to print doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to sell it for more. I used to work down in Nashville. I was printing for like Garth Brooks and Taylor Swift, and they would do these complex portrait jobs with 12 colors. And they can do that because they're selling their shirts for $60.
Right. Are you at 20, 25?
I sell my shirts for $20. 25 is pretty reasonable anymore for bands too. But realistically, I don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot here, but black shirt with a white design is such a classic move for bands. And if it's not broke, don't fix it, I say a lot of the time.
Right.
If you want to offer different options of colors, it does not make much of a difference for us to just burn one extra screen and plop a different color in that screen for that same exact design. Put it on a super vibrant shirt that's eye-catching, and I think that makes a huge difference for people. Then, as a band, you're keeping your costs lower. You're able to order more shirts. That way, when somebody comes up, you're not saying, "Oh man, I just sold my last medium."
Right.
Know.
Yeah, inventory. The biggest thing that we run into with any group, whether it's a sporting group, an athletic group, a company, or someone just trying to sell T-shirts at a parade, is how many do I need? And you get to this point where ordering more always makes it less expensive, but that also raises your dollar amount that you spent on that stuff. How do you guys handle that as far as, can't have possibly every size and 30 of each size. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
cost-wise.
and then when you run out, it's when do you order more? It's the constant struggle with just about any business, not just bands. It's like, what do you, am I gonna put in another order for 4 shirts just because I'm out of mediums? Right. What I've been doing for us is I'll do a split of anywhere between 3 to 5 of each size. But right now we have a ton of smalls because we've got a lot of big boys that are coming to our shows apparently. Yeah. It all depends on how many shirts you're planning to order. I would, think about who you're playing for. But
yeah,
it's always a guess.
We have some country bands that may have a lot of female followers, so like the smalls and mediums might work great for them. But if you're a hard rock, heavy metal, whatever, you might be getting more guys. So we've always talked about doing like
got those big boys in the pit pushing themselves around, getting all sweaty. They need a new shirt by the end of the show.
They need their 2Xs for they're gonna sweat it out. But we talk about like a bell curve. Like on one end you have your smalls or extra smalls or youth sizes. On the other end you have your 3X. And we used to say in the middle would be your larges and extra larges. But now that's shifting a little bit on the larger side because even the females are liking something a little baggy or a little bigger. They don't want something tight. And most of the shirts that we sell for these groups are unisex, otherwise known as men's sizing, because women's cut can get a little funky as far as is it tight, is it flowy, is it whatever, or short, sleeves are shorter. But what do you do? Okay, so we have some dogs here. Well, I think we're good. We can chat. So,
and we're back.
Anyway, talking about size, we got that figured out as far as just be conservative, especially on the really, really bigs and the really, really smalls, because they're hard to sell. If you have a lot of smalls left over, it depends on your demographic as far as who's coming to your gig.
People are concerned about the shirts shrinking, so they will err on the size of larger sizes. So maybe you can skimp on the smaller ones, but then again, like I said, I just like an even split among the sizes too, because I'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, obviously. I guess the other thing I was going to say is I have a friend who plays in a band who they're playing a lot of these block parties and stuff where there are a lot of kids, and they are asking for youth sizes of their shirts. And actually, I didn't even tell you this today. I had a lady come in the front while y'all were out at lunch, and she was looking at the shirts, and she was like, "Where's the youth sizes?" And it just got me thinking, like, don't underestimate that you might have some kids at your show who are into it.
Right. I mean, and even just for your own kids. I mean, when we get this thing set up to print, we want to print as many things as we can, and that kind of leads into other garments. Cody was talking about things that he needs to have on hand, but then you can also, we do a lot with online stores where you can offer other things. Like you're not going to buy 40 hoodies at whatever price to sell, because it's for every hoodie you could have had 2 or 3 t-shirts or whatever, depending on the price and the hoodie. You want to bring what you can to sell at the gig and not have, you don't need 15 hats and sweatshirts. I mean, unless you're Taylor Swift, you're not selling all that possible garb. So where we can set up an online store, get you a QR code, make you some kind of flyer or something where you can offer the tanks, the long sleeves, the hoodies, the crews, baseball hats, traveler mugs.
I was gonna say not just the garments, but we're able to offer those outside the box type merch things here. We can get in keychains, we can get in laser engraved stuff.
Right.
We can do all sorts of stuff.
Made some whiskey rocks. Was that for Will?
Yeah.
Slate whiskey rocks and put his logo on it. Again, it's one of those everybody has their Uber fans, and those are, if they want to get those things, it's cool to have.
Yeah. We can always host that on our website with a QR code, and they can order through our portal. It comes straight through us, and
We take care of the payment because they'll be paying with a credit card, but then we work with the artist to figure out if you were to buy this many of this garment, we come up with that price. This is what it would have cost you. You tell us what you want to mark it up, and then we sell it for that price and then keep a running total of what it is. And we essentially cut a check to you. And that is a way for you to make money without having to have any, out of pocket for all these extra things that you want to offer.
yeah.
It makes it convenient and easy, and you can offer a lot of stuff and look, I don't want to say a legit band, but it gives you more street cred.
Yeah,
what would you
credibility,
call it?
I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah. That look at us, we're big time now.
Yeah,
So it's just another option. Anything else on the band side or clothing or any recommendations you have on that?
I would just say that because of who we are as a shop, we're willing to do some weird stuff. If you want to try some weird stuff, let's do it. Send us the TikTok you saw and say, hey, can you do this?
Well,
chances are we might.
Yeah, and Cody as our main screen printer, he loves doing weird stuff.
Yeah,
and so when talking about those garments, one last thing about those is do some premium stuff. You don't want the least expensive shirts. Everybody has a cheap cotton, not very comfortable shirt that they got because their kids in football, and this is what I had to order to wear to the game, and they put it in a drawer because they'll never wear it. You want your fans to wear the shirt because A, they love your band, and B, the shirt is comfortable to wear.
Exactly.
And so be a little choosy, and we'll help you with that as far as like, this garment actually feels good, and I would wear this not just to your gig. I'm going to wear it on a Tuesday
100%.
at trivia night or whatever at Laredo's, or whatever. It's comfortable garments go a long way with people.
100% of the time, what's going to kill your sale is they pick up the shirt and it feels like sandpaper in their hands. That's just the matter of fact.
Exactly.
On it.
And that's what we're also going to help you with the print too, because the print can go into that too. It could be a great shirt, but it's a really not pleasing heat transfer or something that feels like plastic or has way too much ink. That's the other side of that too. The garment may be great, it might be the most premium, awesome t-shirt in the world, but it's this bulletproof vest, because you had to have 17 colors in your print and it's just a square of ink. We're going to help you with that. So I figure we'd call in Cody for this. I mean, not that you haven't been on all the other
I've been
videos.
called in.
You've been called in for this because of his expertise with the bands. But anything else?
Expertise.
In this shop, you are the
I suppose
expert in that.
I would say that the other thing that's super popular are sleeve prints. I want to do more sleeve prints, man. We ordered those platens to do the sleeve prints, and we've been doing a bunch of them. I feel like they're popular. I just want to see more bands do them.
Right. Something cool on the sleeve over here, and
all
the way down the sleeve, or just a little spot, or whatever. You can, the world is your oyster when it comes to that.
Yeah. Other than that, keep on rocking in the free world, I guess.
Neil Young, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, and we'll see you soon.